man who got the most votes of any player playing in the All-Star game next Tuesday. He is Josh Donaldson of the Toronto Blue Jays here on the Rich Eisen Show. How are you, Josh?
I'm doing fine, Rich. Thanks for having me.
No, you bet. Thanks for coming on the program. What did you think when you heard the news that you got the most votes of any player starting in the All-Star game next week?
I was stunned. It's just, I don't know. I really was kind of at a loss for words. I still really kind of don't believe it. Just a small town kid. I think I grew up where I originally grew up, 15,000 people. To think that over 14 million people voted for me, it's kind of one of those things that's kind of a little surreal.
Yeah, 14,090,188 votes to be exact, and that was the most of all time, certainly the most this year for any player, because people were throwing out Trout's name and people were throwing out Bryce Harper's name, and then your name is the one that comes out. I'm wondering who broke the news to you about that, Josh?
Well, we were actually we had a flight to Chicago when it happened, so we got off the flight and. Actually, a couple guys on the team, I guess they saw it on social media, had told me about it, and I was just kind of, like I said, I don't know what to say. I definitely had a couple big-time supporters for me with Don Cherry, being a Canadian legend. He threw out some love for me on in the NHL. I think it was Stanley Cup.
Mm-hmm.
And then Stephen Amell, an actor who plays in Arrow, he definitely had a big social media thing for me as well. I didn't ask for it. It was just kind of two guys, and they kind of took it on their own. But like I said, I'll take it. And, Canada's a pretty big country, so
yes, it is.
The only team in Canada definitely helps, I think.
It also helps if you are talking about Twitter to have a Twitter handle of @BringerOfRain20, Josh. It's got a ring to it, right? That helps.
I like it. That's why I picked it.
Why did you pick that? Where did this come from? Bringer of Rain.
It came from an old, or not old, but I mean, I guess you could call it old, but it was a Spartacus Blood and Sand.
Mm-hmm.
And Spartacus ends up getting the nickname Bringer of Rain because he and Crixus, they defeat this warrior who's never been beaten. He's fought over 1,000 times, been stabbed over 10,000 times. This monster, he's like 8 foot tall, ends up killing them. And then their country was in drought for over 3 months. And after Spartacus kills them, obviously it begins to rain. So I felt like that was a pretty neat name. So I copied it.
Yeah. So I mean, I feel sort of small now that I'm at Rich Eisen, Josh. I mean, that's just, there's no story behind it. Well, that's my name.
Well, I mean, I put. This is one of the few things I've actually taken time and put thought into.
Mm-hmm.
So. I did this before really anybody knew who I was. So now it's kind of people don't really understand the story. And it's kind of cool to fill them in on it.
Yeah. @BringerOfRain20, Josh Donaldson, for whom the fans help make it rain, joining me here.
There you go.
On the Rich Eisen Show before heading to the All-Star game in Cincinnati next week. So you could tell that story to the gathered media and people, they'll eat that up, man. They'll eat that up.
I mean, I try not to. I'm not a huge media darling by any means.
Why would you say that? What would you say that?
Because I'm not the guy that needs a lot of the attention, but for some reason it gets brought on me.
Well, I mean, look, Josh. I mean, let's put it this way, okay? The other starting third baseman who we had on yesterday, and Todd Frazier. His Twitter handle is @FlavaFrage21. I mean,
that's legit.
I mean, that's legit. I mean, I like the sort of it's sort of tongue in cheek. You're coming with Spartacus stories and drought. I mean, it's like Game of Thrones almost, Josh.
I mean, it's some heat,
Yeah.
It's heat.
Why do you think I'm with Josh Donaldson of the Blue Jays joining me here on the program? Why do you think you get that attention that you think is unwarranted, Josh? Where do you think that
Oh, it's
comes
not
from?
that I think it's unwarranted. It's just I don't feel the need to have it. You know what I mean? Some people feel that way, and I obviously the past few years, I've helped my team win a lot of games, and with a little bit of success, you're definitely going to get media attention. So I mean, that's just one of the things. I'm not saying I hate. I hate being on media. That's not what I'm saying
Oh,
at
okay,
all.
that's good because I'm already enjoying this conversation, Josh. I'd love.
We're having a great time, I feel like.
I feel like it too. Sure.
Uh,
And I don't speak to too many people who are worth 4 players in a trade.
well,
You know,
I mean,
I usually don't speak to those people. You know.
this is great. I love this conversation. I love where this is going.
Oh, good. I mean, so have you paid attention at all about what's going on with your former team in Oakland, Josh?
Of course, I mean, I watch a lot of baseball. It's not I keep up with them, but I keep up with a lot of the other teams. And ultimately, I hope those guys. I hope they have success. I mean, I have a lot of friends that are still on that team, and I want them to be successful. Just not when they play us.
Sure. And you guys have been hitting the cover off the ball. I mean, one of the most potent offenses in Major League Baseball. Nobody comes close, certainly in the statistic of number of times that you've scored at least 10 runs this season. I mean, it's not even close. So what does the second half of the season, what needs to happen for your team to take it maybe to a next level, Josh?
Well, I mean, really early on in the season, we lost a lot of games that I felt like we had some guys that necessarily didn't understand their role that was on the team. You know what I mean? And there were some guys who were unproven, and now they began to find guys who have a role now, and ultimately, I feel like we've had more success here in the last, month and a half, 2 months, because we've had guys step up and they've been able to claim some roles on our team. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
And I feel like ultimately that's just going to allow us to be more successful, and I think it's already proven that within the last couple months. And I think if you take away some early losses that we had earlier on in the year, we would definitely be ahead of schedule.
Josh Donaldson joining me here on the Rich Eisen Show. So you say you watch a lot of baseball. Who would you stop? Who would you drop the remote for as you're clicking around watching games? Who makes you stop to watch?
Obviously I played against Trout for a while, so Trout's one of those guys who I like to watch. Altuve is one of those kind of guys who I like to watch just because, he's just against all odds. He's been able to do it. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
And I don't like giving pitchers a lot of credit because that's my profession, is to beat them.
I like it.
But Scherzer's one of those guys who you kind of have to watch, and King Felix.
I like that. That's sort of a mentality that a pass rusher doesn't like quarterbacks, Josh. I like it.
Yeah. Well, I'm a former football player, so I kind of have that kind of way of thinking.
So you're an Auburn guy. I know that.
Right.
So do you want to talk smack against anybody from Alabama while you got your platform here, Josh? Do you want to, what do you think?
Yeah, I would love to. If you want to throw some names at me.
Well, Nick Saban. When you hear the name Nick Saban, what do you think, Josh?
Oh man, it's hard to talk crap about Nick Saban. He's probably the best, especially my generation, probably one of the best college coaches of all time.
Oh well, Josh, look, I'm a Michigan guy. I'll talk crap about Urban Meyer anytime. I've got no problem. And this radio show has an affiliate in Columbus, Ohio. I take pride in that sort of thing.
Well, you know what? I respect Nick Saban. At the same time, I don't want him to win, especially against us.
Okay, so Forrest Gump. What does that name bring to mind then? Forrest Gump, Josh. A fictional Alabama guy. What is far?
It's very fictional. It's fictional. People think that's real, okay, where he's from.
Right.
People think that Greenbow, Alabama exists. It's not real.
But
Just for all your listeners out there.
But Bubba Gump Shrimp exists. My sons eat there all the time.
I know. I've eaten at that restaurant before, or ate. However, I mean, there's my grammar coming out. Whatever it is, I don't know. Okay.
Because I'll tell you what, Josh, I'm a Michigan guy too, and Rudy, he's real. But that movie, a little bit of fiction. I'll be very honest. So I don't mind bashing Rudy. So I'm just trying to pave the way for you. I swear, Josh, I watch Rudy hoping he pops a quad at the end. That they change
at the end. But you know what's going to happen. And you're just like, can this please change? Is there an alternate ending?
In my mind, there is. In my mind, there is. And it's also called reality. That's the alternate ending.
Wow. Exactly.
Just hating on Rudy.
Hey, Josh, I've enjoyed this conversation. Have a great time next. Hey, are you going to do the home run derby this year?
I don't know. Have they announced it yet?
I don't know. Some people are just coming out like Pujols said, I'll do it. I mean, I don't know if they've announced it yet.
I don't want to make any announcements. I've told them that I would partake in it, so I'm kind of giving you a little hint, but I don't know.
See, Josh, the spotlight has found you again. This is great.
It's crazy.
You gave me an exclusive. So you're going to be in it next week?
Possibly.
Don't backtrack on me now.
Hey, I'm just feeding you a little bit at a time.
Thank you.
Call
Okay.
me next week. We'll see what happens.
All right, Josh, we'll do that. Have a great time in Cincinnati.
All right, Rich. Thanks a lot.
You bet. At Bringer of Rain 20, Josh Donaldson.
The Rich Eisen Show, weekdays at noon Eastern. On Audience.